There we go, and we are live.
There we go.
Happy Gay Pride in Mexico City today. Manolo is his language school is right there in the Zona Rosa, in the middle of it. So good luck with that, Manolo.
Right.
I am not there. I'm not there today, but I'm there in spirit. So today we're going to talk about parents. We're going to talk about parents today. And this is directed at teachers and any parents who are interested who might be listening. So, but I mean, if you are a teacher and you're being treated like a waiter, I think I have nothing against waiters. I think I could not be a waiter. It's a very skilled job. But if you are being treated like a waiter, como chacha, as we would say in Mexico, because of a parent who is unhappy about a grade, or unhappy with life, you have a problem, I think, and we've all been there. But here's the ticker: it's usually your own fault. I don't like that word, fault. Let's put it another way. It's your responsibility. You're causing it, because most teachers let the parent define the relationship. It's a pretty tough thing to say, I'm afraid, but I'm sorry, that's the way. That's my opinion. I think it's your opinion as well, Manolo. Maybe you would put it in a more diplomatic way. But by letting the parent define the relationship before you even step into the classroom, you're causing a bit of a difficult situation for yourself. So
absolutely,
we're fixing that today, or we're going to try to fix that today, in today's episode of Empowering Teachers here on Leadership Lives. In episode 2, last episode, Manolo and I tackled the topic of administration, how a teacher can proactively work with a school administration in order to live a happier life. Today we go after the other stakeholders, stakeholders, the parents who think that school is just expensive daycare. Ooh, I said something I shouldn't have said, but yes, I think that's the way it is. It is daycare for most parents, and that's okay, I suppose, in a way. So Manolo Hidalgo is back. He has spent over 50 years in the classroom. Well, not all. I mean, you do other things. You're not in the classroom 24. You do other things besides being in the classroom. You have been in classrooms for over 50 years. I've been in classrooms for over 35 years now. So that gives us nigh on 100 years nearly of experience. And that's why we feel qualified to talk about this topic. Manolo holds a master's degree in applied linguistics from the University of Havana. And he really does know what he's talking about. And he's here to help us stop the burnout coming from bad communication. So we need to talk about why schools are acting like restaurants. Sorry for the analogy, it is a bit like that for many schools. If you do not define the relationship with a parent on day one, they will define it for you. That is human nature. That is the way the game goes, I think, no? And that is where the disaster starts. So I've spoken enough. I'm a talker. I'm an Irishman, so I talk too much. So before we get into the psychology of this, I will say one last thing. Hit the subscribe button if you like this, like it. This channel is attempting, we do this for the goodness of our hearts, for free. This channel is about your sanity and your professional survival, and it helps us an awful lot to get the message out there if you subscribe and hit like. So Manolo, I'm going to hand over to you. I've got a question for you. Being the person I am, I'll have opinions too, but I'd like you to start off on this one. Why do parents treat school like a service contract? And why does that disconnect happen, that disconnect that I mentioned a minute ago, at the moment that we start teaching?
Right. Well, there is a lot of confusion. Let's say this, as you say, that this relationship should be defined from the very beginning. And of course, the school itself has a lot of responsibility, the school authorities, apart from the teachers themselves, I mean, as individuals. But there's a lot of anxiety among parents because they are thinking in terms of money as well. I mean, the money they have to spend, that's why they regard it as a contract, as if they are receiving another kind of service. I mean, where they pay for it and they get the service or the product. But it goes far beyond that. And that beyond is what they don't seem to, many of them, of course, don't seem to realize. Others do, of course, and know what it's all about. But there is this anxiety that they will be paying huge amounts of money, and the results will not be what they expect. And sometimes they expect them immediate results. And there's this confusion about this relationship. Parents are supposed to have done research, let's say, about the schools where they are going to send their children. Some of them do, some of them don't. Some of them also go by reference. I mean, reference from other parents and the prestige of the schools and all that. But there is this anxiety and the concept that it is, like you say, a service contract, or that the teachers are babysitters, or like you say, waiters. So it's the thing is that the essence of the kind of service that we offer is sometimes misunderstood. I mean, the responsibility of the teachers is these students' education. Of course, a huge part of their education comes from home, but also at school. And this is what the parents sometimes, of course, again, not all of them, don't seem to understand. That's something, and this communication should be established from the start. Like you say, we should not let them define the kind of relationship, but we, as experts, and of course the school authorities, who are the experts in education and teaching and learning and all that, should establish this relationship. That is definitely not a service contract like for other services that we get. So it is a service, but it is a completely different service from a restaurant or a babysitting service or anything like that.
Yes, exactly. It's fascinating what you say about parents not recognizing their responsibility to educate their children, because they sure do say a lot about that right when governments get involved in education. The government should stay out of educating my child. It's my responsibility to educate my child. But then I suppose there's some kind of psychological disconnect that goes on there, or twisting of the thing in their minds. Where then all of the obligation is put onto the teacher with very little parental support in many cases. Not in all cases, many cases. Many cases. I think, though, I think we have to be compassionate here. I think that's a very useful starting point for a teacher, don't you think?
Absolutely.
To look at this often disagreeable person who's shouting at you or blaming you, and instead of reacting defensively, ask ourselves the question, where is this person coming from? Why are they this way? What has happened to them? What's wrong with them that they are reacting in this way? And take the first step as the teacher, be the adult in the situation as the teacher.
That's right.
Because the parent often can't. In many cases, not in all cases, many cases, the parent cannot. And so the teacher's job is to be the adult and to guide the situation, and understand exactly what you said, that the parent is very anxious actually about this situation. They're paying good money in private schools. The private schools in general are not, except for about maybe 10% of cases, are not delivering the goods, for many different reasons. the parents being one of them. But anyway, let's park that. But it's very important to realize that the parents are paying good money, and the results are not coming up. They're not coming through. And also, the parents are... Go on.
Yeah, no, just go on.
Yeah, and parents are not educators. Parents are not teachers. We are the teachers. We're the person who, and they don't know what this whole thing is about. They don't understand this process, and it's our job as the adults in the relationship to guide the parent and to work as a team. Right. I think, and I think a useful starting point for the teacher is to understand that this anger that the parent is expressing, that they're acting out because they're anxious, because they feel that they don't have control over the situation, and the results that were promised by the school are not there. So they're wondering, they're worried about the future of their child as well. That's where a lot of the anxiety, I think, comes from.
And it goes from the fact that
their child might be replaced by AI,
right,
as a worker.
The kind of service, let's call it like that, doesn't show from the very beginning like they maybe are expecting. I mean, you buy a jacket and you know if the jacket, is good or not immediately. And you go to a restaurant, again, you taste the food and you say, well, the service was good and all that. So it's an immediate service.
Yes.
The results are very evident. In terms of education, the results are long-term. The thing is that, of course, we do know that some schools don't have those results. Not even long-term or short-term or anything like that. But that's where the anxiety comes from, because they think, well, I am spending all this money and I don't see the immediate results that
They're in the dark, no? They're in the dark. They are in the dark, as we say in English. They're really kind of lost. And this acting out is a little bit like La Gente, Nuestro gremio, the teachers union in Mexico City, who took control of the streets at the beginning of the World Cup here in Mexico City, and broke windows and set fire to things. It's this kind of reaction, out of control kind of reaction to something they don't have it, because they feel disempowered. So it's up to us as teachers to involve them and to And the funny thing that you say, education is slow. Children are very slow at learning things. It takes them many, many years to learn to put on their own T-shirt, for example, tie their shoelaces. It takes many years. I think I was 7 years old by the time it took me a long time to learn how to tie my shoelaces. Those Velcro shoes didn't exist when I was small. So that's a lot of work on part of the. So parents do know that children learn very slowly. And then on the other hand, I think the funny thing is, Manolo, that a teacher can actually teach something concrete every single day of the week and inform parents. Today, the child learned to count in English, for example.
Yeah,
or the child learned to count to 3. Today, the child learned how to say hello to me in English, And the funny thing is that there are actually very, very, even though children do learn incredibly slowly, they learn incredibly slowly. It takes them, hours and hours and hours to get ready in the morning, and if the parent doesn't intervene and, help them to, get ready and get their things together, they're slow learners, And they're, I think they're about 9 or 10 years old before they know that they realize
we all are actually.
So they are slow, but there are actually concrete. There are immediate results. That's what I'm getting at. There are immediate results that the teacher could communicate to the parent, and the parent could get those immediate results that they want. So the parent's intuitive feeling that there should be something more concrete here happening is correct, I think, and they are not the people to assess that, because they're not trained teachers. They're not trained teachers.
Of course.
they don't know. Most of them don't know anything at all about education. And their memories of school were probably not that nice. So the total misconception about what school is. I've got some killer facts here. Manolo. It says here that defining roles, so the parent-teacher roles at the start of the term, cuts down on crisis emails by 40%.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever received? I've received lots of crisis emails. The email arrives in my inbox, and some parent complaining. So what do you think? I mean, does that tally with your experience? Do you think that this is true, that defining roles cuts down on this very aggressive communication by a lot?
Well, sometimes the thing is that, that we do adult education. I mean, in companies and all that. But there are...
I work with teenagers. I increasingly teach teenagers,
exactly.
and
we don't actually have to deal with parents as such, but we deal with the parents, but the parents are the students. That's the point.
Yes.
But they also have complaints, and of course, definitely, because again, we have to understand that it's very difficult for the general public to understand how a learning, especially languages, the learning process goes. I mean, it's developing skills. And of course, like you say, yes, there are immediate results, and that comes with regular communication. It's like regular communication with the students, regular feedback, and also with the parents, for them to see that yes, that they are really advancing in the progress, but in the process. But it is a long process. I mean, sometimes you say, well, you need 100 hours to cover a language level. And they say, well, that's too long, but yes, but that is what it takes.
There are some things that take a very long time to develop, like critical thinking. I'm seeing now, actually, that a lot of the teenagers that I teach, they're 17, 18 years old, they don't even have that really after 12 years of schooling. So, critical thinking takes a long time to learn. I think learning to say hello or learning to count to 3 in English, for example, that takes much less time.
Of course.
It's this ironic thing that it's not neither 100% of one or the 100% of the other. There are short-term, mid-term, and long-term educational goals.
Absolutely. And they should be communicated. They should be expressed. I mean, in a way, for them to know what.
And the parents should be involved in setting. Don't you think that the parents should be involved in setting those goals in a way, Manolo?
Also, absolutely. The parents and even the students themselves. I mean, in some schools, the students' voices are very much taken into account, and of course the parents' voices as well, because they do have something to say. I mean, it's not like they are complete ignorant.
Oh, sure.
To guide them through. And they were also students in their times, and they know what a good class or what a good course is, what a boring course or a boring teacher is. And so in general, they do know what about the quality of education in general.
Yeah,
of course,
definitely. I think by involving parents in that way, because you mentioned earlier that education begins at home. By involving the parents in that way in the setting of the educational objectives, you're actually teaching them how to educate their children and where everything connects up,
Everything connects.
I have another killer fact here. It says 60% of parent freakouts, 60% of parent freakouts happen simply because they haven't heard from the teacher in a while.
This is
correct, no?
Of course.
Yeah, so that is definitely the teacher's responsibility. Well, let's move on. I have another question for you. How do you stay consistent in your communication without working 24/7? Because I know I can hear teachers saying, oh God, more. Dara and Manolo are suggesting that we do more administrative work, more communication with parents than already exists. Exactly. Explain our idea on this.
Well, we have mentioned this, what has been called the doorstep effect, or the doorstep procedure, which is that constant communication. I mean, when the parents arrive at school, if they do, because of course we know that sometimes parents are not really engaged in this as well, because they're very busy and all that. They send the students to school, or with other people. But when they go, this very short contact with the parents creates the trust. I mean, because they see that we are definitely involved, that we are taking care of the children, and we don't need to wait for this, what you call before, crisis emails. I mean, with like a bomb complaining about something big. So when there is this regular communication, there is this phrase, micro habits create stability. Yes, it is so you don't have to work 24/7. I mean, it's something that comes naturally, but at the same time should be consistent. Should be consistent. So we should not allow for the parents to think that we are not involved, and months pass by and there is no communication at all, and they don't know what is going on. So that is the school's responsibility, and the teachers as individuals' responsibility as well, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, what I do, which is a little bit more work, but the way I do this is at the end of every lesson, I send a report on the student, on what we learned, to the parent, and so the parent can actually read what we learned that day and what the homework is, and where the student is on their learning journey. That's a little bit more work than what you're suggesting, but it's the same idea, isn't it? It's this idea that the daily update on how things are going and how the parent can help is super important.
At least every week.
Or at least every week. But I think that I think that a lot can and should happen in the classroom in a week, Manolo. It often doesn't. A week passes and the students don't learn anything. But I feel a week is probably too much. It's too long, and the report, writing a weekly report, Manolo, is a killer. Writing a daily report, short and sweet,
is shorter.
Is easy because
apart from that, the schools themselves, the schools administration put a lot of burden on top of the teachers' shoulders. I mean, they demand a lot, because I am seeing this every day, and the teachers complain a lot. I have to do lots of assessments, and I have to evaluate all this, and then so they have lots of, and then of course in a normal situation those reports are ideal, of course. But of course, if you have also 40 students in a classroom, so writing 40 reports to 40 parents, it's something every day. Plus the school's burden is all about.
It is something that I do. It's something that I do, but it is not, I suppose, possible for everybody to do it. I'm not superhuman, but anyway, I suppose it is for some and it isn't for others, no? But
it is
definitely, I think what we're saying here is that that the regular communication is the important thing. Be it
that's right,
by a WhatsApp message, a short WhatsApp message every day, or a short phone call, or a quick update. When you say hello to the parent, you need to build that relationship with the parent, so that you're working in a team, I think. So it's I've got more killer facts here. It says teachers who spend 30 seconds chatting at pickup see 50% fewer angry email chains.
Exactly. Of course. That's right.
Yes, I mean, I suppose you are like, one is unlikely to send an angry email to somebody that one knows well, right? I mean, you and I are friends. I'm unlikely to send an email saying, and explode, because you're my friend. I don't want to hurt your feelings,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
There's a relationship there. And if the teacher builds that relationship with the parent, then it is very, very unlikely that the parent is going to, you know, the parent will think before they write or think before they scream, because there's actually a person behind that email address that they're sending the angry message to, you know? But it's up to the teacher to take that first step. It's up to the teacher to be the adult in the relationship, I think, you know, in many cases. Not in all cases, many cases. It's up to the teacher to take that first step.
That's right.
And you know, extend the hand of friendship, extend the olive branch, and involve the parent, because that's the teacher's job, I suppose, you know? The parent might be a dentist or a shoemaker or a waiter, and the parent is doing their job. The teacher's job is to start communication on both. Yeah.
Right.
I think.
And it is not only teaching the class, definitely.
Yeah, exactly. It's another killer fact here is that it says that predictable communication is a stress buffer. If parents hear from you regularly, they won't blow up when you have to give bad news. I suppose that's common sense, isn't it?
Of course. Definitely.
It
is very human. I mean, it happens in all situations.
Yeah, it happens in all situations. If there's regular, friendly, constructive communication, it's very, between two people, it's very unlikely that they will blow up with each other, no? But the communication... It
is the same relationship you have with your boss, with your director, with your teachers. Of course, it's always like that. So we shouldn't wait for this blow up situation, crisis situation, but just right.
Yeah, exactly. There would be much fewer crisis situations, I think, if this regular communication happened.
Absolutely.
No,
Absolutely.
It's the famous assertive communication, la comunicación asertiva, that apparently everybody is an expert on. Everybody masters. You know, they're like, oh, sí, claro. I'm an expert on assertive communication, but then in real life, it's very difficult for people to put it into practice, I think, or for teachers anyway. Teachers to put it into practice. Okay, so when a parent, I have another question for you, Manolo. When a parent demands something that ruins learning, how do you handle it? Because you've spoken about unrealistic expectations. And how do you handle that when a parent suggests something that is actually going to be detrimental to the student's learning?
Well, to begin with, you should listen to them. I mean, you should listen to their reasons. I mean, their everything they have to say, and never say, no, you're wrong. But try to begin with, try to understand their concern. Because their concern is based on something. I mean, definitely, they are also human beings, and they are concerned about their children's education. And then we have to put our knowledge into play, and then give explanations. I mean, academic explanations for them to, of course, with a language that they understand, especially thinking about referring to results. I mean, results and international parameters, the fact that it's not only that school or that teacher, but it's methodological principles, and that they have been proven giving good results and all that. So in other words, our knowledge will definitely be extremely important, and the way we communicate our knowledge for them to understand, and for us to never underestimate what they are saying. I mean, we should always say, well, we, instead of saying I or you are wrong or anything like that, avoiding this negative, and always regarding the whole thing as a teamwork. So it is a teamwork really between parents, and so we are not enemies. And this is what sometimes they think, that we are enemies, and it is not really like that. I mean, they simply need guidance, because they haven't gotten this knowledge, and there is a lot of misunderstanding from many sources. I mean, social media, other schools, the publicity of other schools, which say, as you know, well, in 1 month the students will be bilingual, etc. So politicians. You know, well,
politicians.
Probably I am exaggerating, but they say, well, in a year you will be bilingual, or
Yeah, yeah,
lots of things. So that will confuse the parents, because they simply don't know how the process takes place. So with our knowledge and our expertise, we can definitely sort it out if we use the proper language, and at the same time we never underestimate their concerns,
yeah.
because they are in their way, they are right. Only
Yes.
they are confused
They maybe don't know how to express it, the
as
parent.
well. Right.
And I think we need to be prepared for that. We need to be prepared for the parents saying that we are wrong, right? We need to be prepared for the parents saying that, we don't care about their child, and listen, as you say, and understand that this aggressive language is coming from a place of anxiety and worry, rather than taking it personally. I mean, we really do need to be the adult in the relationship. And I have a killer fact here. It says, replacing defensive language with expert, direct terminology increases parent compliance by 35%. Compliance, what does it mean by parent? Increases parent involvement, by 35%. Just by thinking about the words that we use,
Exactly. Of course, the language is essential. So, I mean, we are supposed to be experts in the language, and teachers should be definitely experts in how to communicate all this.
Well, yes, a large percentage of a teacher's work, be they history teachers or biology or Spanish as the first language, a lot of what we do is around language and teaching, reading and writing and stuff. So, I mean, we really do need to get a handle on the language that we use with others, I think, with the students and with the parents too. Okay, a final question, because we're coming towards the close of this. This has been very interesting. Thank you very much, Manolo, for shedding light on all of this. The third question is, how do you find consensus on tough topics? I mean, when it's Israel versus Palestine in the schoolyard, parents versus teacher, with no or Northern Ireland, Southern Ireland, to use where I was born and raised in a civil war. When it is civil war. Oh, you were born. Yes, well, you were born.
We all know something about that. Yes,
you grew up in a civil war as well. So how do you how have you managed over the years to come to grips with this? How do you find consensus on tough topics?
Well, we have mentioned that before. Always regarding or never underestimating what parents and students have to say, and always regard it as a team. Okay, we are not enemies. We are a team, and our goal is the same. I mean, our goal is the same. Your goal as a parent is the same as our goal as a teacher.
Yeah.
Teachers,
and as a school.
And the school is exactly the same. Exactly the same. So we are not really divorced. So everything, and then, like we said before, not using the pronouns are very powerful. And if we say I, or you, so we sound like accusing somebody or saying that we are right. So it's better to use the plural, and we, and we are a team, and the objectives are, we are going towards the same goal. And of course, with our expertise and our knowledge, we can, and the language we use, we can convince them that what is going on is the right thing. And sometimes also admitting that there are some mistakes. I mean, because of course, there can be actual mistakes.
Even teachers. Even teachers that we are perfect.
So absolutely. Absolutely. Yes, definitely. I don't know. I have heard something. Let's say, I have heard parents say, "Well, the teacher is in an English class. The teacher is always speaking Spanish." For example, okay, this is an opportunity area. We should admit that is going on, and that should not go on like that. So as a director, well, we should talk to the teacher and then try to, because there are, of course, actual mistakes that we should definitely correct, and opportunity areas, let's say. And on the other hand, if the teachers are wrong about some concept or something, we should explain. I mean, how it goes, and with real facts and knowledge. Let's say that's very important.
Yeah, I think it's important to
And
talk
always
about these.
considering, like we said before, we are not enemies.
Mm.
To talk about this, I mean, by talking, everybody is supposed to understand if we are doing it in the right way.
Exactly, and very
And
much
never get angry or get into an argument, or raise our voices or anything like that. Everything should be very professional, very calm, and just listening, assertively expressing ideas. Yes, all that. Of
exactly.
course, this is easier said than done, because we know that sometimes, I mean, if there is this complaint that is completely, outrageous, we might get upset, and then we might show that. At some point, we should try not to get too excited about it, but just calm and calmly just express our ideas and try to sort it out in a civilized way, let's say. And I think you got frozen. I think your camera froze. Can you hear me? Well, let's wait, because we're about to finish. Okay, well, got disconnected. Let's see if he can connect again. Something happened. Let's wait for some seconds. It seems that something happens. Sometimes technology is not on our side. Well, as long as we were about to finish this live, I think it is my role in this, under these circumstances, to say goodbye. To well, again, the topic is, as we all know, very wide and very complex. And everything that we have said, we hope, has been useful to all teachers. And well, thank you very much for listening to us. And we would also appreciate your sharing experiences and uh, examples and all that, concrete examples. So, well, we wish you a very good weekend, and we'll see each other very soon on another live streaming. Okay, bye bye.
So to finish, I just got cut off the plug was pulled on my live by the electricity company, but I'm back, disaster averted. Agency is about leading. Parents are not the enemy. They are just the partners who need someone to show them the way. So in our next episode of teaching, empowering teachers, will be looking at the internal toolkit that you need to keep your mental health when the system feels like it is collapsing. So if you, how are you handling parents? Are you a babysitter? Are you an educator with the parents? Tell me your best ideas for dealing with these situations in the comments. We do read them all. So have a great weekend. Look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.